Good morning, everyone. This is Mitch with SC Weather. Hope y'all are having a good start to your morning. I'm here to talk about the tropics again. I kind of thought we were done with this, but again, we have this favorable track for latent hurricane center, and we have tropical storm Zeta that really looks like it's going to affect the Gulf states again. And I really think this is going to have a big effect on our weather here in the Carolinas and South Carolina, things like this. Before we get deep into this video, if you haven't subscribed, much appreciated if you do. Growth has been incredibly slow. Only can make videos maybe like twice a week because there's just not a whole lot to talk about, which is a good thing. You know, we don't have major events going on that cause damage or threats to life or anything like that, but it's just not a whole lot to talk about. So definitely hit that subscribe button if you're watching. It's much appreciated. But we have Tropical Storm Zeta, 40-mile-per-hour storm. I don't think it's going to get that strong, but National Hurricane Center definitely says it's going to hit hurricane status here in the center of the Gulf of Mexico. Satellite imagery of it here, chilling in the western western Caribbean. Sorry guys, that's early. Just pretty much shows a storm, just a big blob of convection out there, but there is some cold tops, and it's definitely there, and it's about to start getting its move on here north shortly. Spaghetti plots, and I'm showing all this in the beginning of this to kind of get you a good idea of what we're dealing with here. This is a pretty straight to the point as far as steering currents. I'm going to talk about that here. There's a big cold front that's going to be dipping through the southeast later this week, just really going to have deciding implications on where this thing is going to go. And you see the spaghetti plots here. They're all curving and doing the same thing. Only a couple of them want to make it a little bit more west, but the big question mark is if this thing makes landfall in Louisiana or more east over here. A lot of times they've been trending more west into Louisiana, but the Euro has an idea what it wants to be, and the GFS has an idea, and they're both not on the same page as where exactly this thing's going to make landfall. Intensity models, a lot of them have a high-end tropical storm, low-end hurricane category 1 before making landfall, but I don't think the strength of the storm is going to be a really huge deal. I think it's going to be an interesting setup because it has a chance to really merge with a cold front and maybe, I don't know, temporarily enhance the storm. It's normally how it is this time of year. When you get a tropical system in the southeast, it's normally a cold front right behind it. But here it is. This is the good old HWRF model. It's not doing anything crazy. It's actually keeping it about reasonable strength. But here it is. We get into the Tuesday time frame. It gets into the Gulf of Mexico. Gets about its strongest category 1 hurricane or so. But then it gets to them cooler waters of the northern Gulf of Mexico, which are really starting to cool down now, and begins to lose some of its strength. And it probably is going to end up, if I had to make a call now, making landfall as a tropical storm, Zeta. Where, I don't know. This model wants to show it more east of the cone of uncertainty. The cone of uncertainty is kind of right in the middle where the GFS and the European model wants to make landfall, and I'll show you this here. So this is the latest GFS. This is from 6Z this morning, and there it is. There's our storm down there at the bottom. This is for Tuesday afternoon, and it's starting to track, and it wants to make landfall east of New Orleans. New Orleans been juking around these hurricanes and avoiding them pretty good. I'm very surprised they have not really been directly or really directly impacted by a tropical system this year. They have been either east or west of them and have been getting really lucky. But here it comes. It makes landfall. GFS has it making landfall in the coastal areas of Mississippi and the far western areas of the panhandle of Florida. But it works its way in, becomes a big rainmaker, especially for western parts of the Carolinas and Georgia and things like that. It's not really good news for any leaves that are still hanging on the mountains. For me, I'm going to the mountains the first weekend of Gatlin, first weekend in November, so I'm really hoping that this does not play out very well. So it goes through, big rainmaker for the Carolinas, and actually whatever's left of it kind of enhances off a cold front and maybe produces a big snowstorm for the higher elevations of the northeast, and that would be, you know, this isn't super far out, so this might be the first big snowstorm for areas of the interior northeast. Well, that will be something very interesting to watch as this storm moves out, but that's what it does here. The Euro, I know this is probably a smaller screen, but you see the storm down here, Zeta. It moves in, makes landfall much more west of guidance. It makes landfall in that famous spot tropical systems are wanting to make landfall this year here in Louisiana. And moves in, it still becomes a pretty decent rainmaker for the Carolinas and the southeast. Merges with that cold front. And one thing I want to talk about real quick is like I said, Zeta's not going to be a dangerous storm, I don't think. I think rainfall could be potentially dangerous. But storm surge, winds, I don't think it's going to be nothing that they haven't already seen this year. It will be some insult to misery, I'll tell you that, because they've already seen a lot. But I do want to show you one last thing here, and it is the cool air that's going to pull behind this. See them little tight circles right here? That is Zeta. Zeta's going to make landfall, and what's going to happen is these are dew points. This is dry air, so dew points in 30s and 40s and 50s are dry air, right? So it surges in behind the system, and cool fall air blast in just in time for Halloween weekend. So definitely expect a much cooler weekend this coming weekend, and a much cooler, it might be downright chilly for Halloween across the southeast this year. Big time cold front moves through, drier air moves through, and this is for Halloween right here. You have some low dew points entrenched into the area, so much cooler fall-like air for the southeast gets dragged in behind Zeta. So that's something to look forward to. But that's all I got, guys. I'll keep y'all more updated on what looks like to be a big time system later this week. Y'all have a good rest of your weekend. Great day.